Tonight, we're witnessing the complete meltdown of the fake news industrial complex in real time. President Trump just masterfully shut down a reporter's pathetic attempt to drive a wedge between the United States and the United Kingdom during today's joint press conference with Prime Minister Starmer. With the simple, "That's enough," Trump exposed their divisive tactics for the world to see. The media's desperation is palpable as their ratings plummet and their credibility evaporates. From Joy Behar's baseless claims about Elon Musk supporting apartheid to CNN's pundits' meltdowns, the establishment media is in full panic mode. Why? Because Trump is succeeding where they said he'd fail. He's forcing unprecedented international cooperation, reshaping global politics, and exposing the media's manipulation along the way. And while the fake news spreads misinformation, Americans need real solutions for their pain, not fabricated stories. Top medical experts have revealed a groundbreaking 100% drug-free pain reliever that's revolutionizing pain management, Conolidine. Unlike media deception, Conolidine delivers honest results by optimizing your body's natural endorphins, providing full-body relief without dangerous pills or known side effects. Over 1 million Americans and hundreds of professional athletes have embraced its power because it's legally available worldwide, certified drug-free, and causes no grogginess or addiction. After 14 years of rigorous clinical research proving its safety and effectiveness, you can now try Conolidine for less than $1 a day. While the media pushes false narratives, we are offering genuine relief. Click the link below for a risk-free 90-day trial at trycono.com/NNN. This special discount expires soon. You got nothing to lose but your pain. Okay, we're talking about the new media today. We are the new media. I have been the new media for 20 years. We've now got White House access. And speaking of new media, let's take a look at this. This is DC Drano speaking while holding the binder containing phase 1 of the Epstein file. And I think what he says here really encapsulates the spirit of what we're seeing today in America.
I'm Bondi. That's the Epstein files. I'm here at the White House. I just met with Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and the President and the Vice President of the United States, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Today has been absolutely surreal. This is the power of new media. They're giving the Epstein files to influencers who supported President Trump and have stood by him, people who tell the truth to the American people. There's so much to tell you. All I can say is promises made, promises kept, and God bless America. That's the Epstein files.
God bless America. Whew. It is changing right now, folks. It is changing. But, you know, people like Governor Pritzker want to make lies on the media. They deliver lies all day long, and this is more. These are narratives that need to be corrected. Governor Pritzker today had the audacity to blame prices going up at the grocery store because democracy is under attack.
Because, you know, you got to remember that the things that I'm speaking out about now, about, you know, the threat to our democracy, this is not a message to win elections on. It's something people need to know. They need to know that that's happening. But, you know, if you talk to 100 people, knock on 100 doors, and I've knocked on an awful lot of doors running for office, and you say to people, you know, democracy is at risk, nobody knows what that looks like. They've never experienced it before. Yeah. And the reality is what people need to hear about is what the effects of that are. The prices at the grocery store are going up because democracy is being taken away. The impact on you in terms of your health care, 770,000 people in Illinois will lose health care as a result of what Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the Republican Congress are doing right now. It's a danger to your way of life. And that's what people need to understand. It's all about affordability. It's all about how you can, you know, make it just a little bit easier for people every single day to live their lives. And they're taking that away from you. That is what it's like to have democracy taken away. So those are, you know, we need to bifurcate between educating people about democracy being taken away and talking to people about what the message ought to be about why they need to vote for Democrats. You know, you got...
How crazy is that? And Speaking of Democrats, here is a professor, Jeff Jarvis at Stony Brook University, said on CNN that we are in the middle of a totalitarian fascist coup.
Was it the editorial?
Well, I'm interested in a couple of the comments you made. You said it was destroying the newspaper because they failed to endorse Kamala Harris. I mean, what does that say about a newspaper that you have to endorse a certain political party and for it?
That's not the way it happened. What happened was that the editorial board had an editorial done and ready, and that was the process.
Right.
And then suddenly to say, oh, now we're not going to endorse. Well, they've endorsed other things since. It was the process by which it went under there. And there's other things going on. Constantly in the paper, I now use the hashtags Broken Times and Broken Post. The headlines in both papers, I think, are constantly off, constantly trying to soft pedal what's going on. Yeah. You're not going to like what I'm saying next, but we are in the middle of a totalitarian fascist coup in this country. Yes. And when we don't call it that, when we soft pedal it, when we don't have a real discussion about it. At least here, I could say those words. We can have that discussion, but you will not see those words in the New York Times or the Washington Post.
So, Jeff, if we were being honest, there should be a breaking news banner on CNN and MSNBC all day long. Yes. We are in dictatorship right now.
Well, I'm interested in
Oh, man. Breaking news, we are in a dictatorship. Oh, my God. Oh, bless their hearts over there. Bless their hearts. Okay, we got more from Scott Jennings. He posted this at his exchange on CNN.
Going to hold them to account.
Can we be real for a moment that Doge is not about cutting money, right? It's not about spending. It's about shrinking government so that it'll be too small to stop Trump with whatever else is in this plan.
Why would the government stop Trump? Isn't he the head of the government? You're saying the government would be too small to stop Trump. If Trump's the president, why would the government, the bureaucracy, be actively trying to stop him?
Because they want
Oh, man, he just said the quiet part out loud. Oh, damn, he just got smoked.
Constitution and creating an authoritarian dictatorship. That's why.
And no matter who was in office, I'm going to hold them accountable. But more importantly, I'm going to make sure the government is working for the American people.
Both of you all made an interesting point, which is that your view is that Trump is shredding the Constitution. I'd like to hear more about that. But that it seems to me that you all both believe that the unelected part of our government, the bureaucracy, has a responsibility to resist the political leadership. Is that your view?
That's not actually what we
not
said.
at all.
We said they are upholding the Constitution, the principles of the Constitution, and at times
how
that we
is
have
Trump
seen,
shredding the Constitution?
My God, he's like.
I mean, seriously, do we have to give you a civics lesson that we have?
I don't know.
We put all power in the executive branch, the legislative branch, the FBI. Now we're in control of the military. We're silencing media. This is what you do in a dictatorship.
Are you suggesting that the president is not the commander-in-chief of the military?
I am suggesting that the president is going to put in charge somebody who is going to contravene the Constitution. And at some near point, this conversation will look very silly for you because it will be obvious. And right now, you're gaslighting. But when we get to the actual rubber of the road of this, it will be clear.
I'm interested in this conversation. He's going to put someone in charge who will contravene the Constitution. Like who? What do you mean by that? The president is in charge of the military, is he not? You said he's going to put someone in charge of the military?
The president is in charge of the military. That is how it works.
He was elected president. We, according to the Constitution, vest all executive authority in a president. And the concept that the military should be an independent agency or that the bureaucracy should resist the political leadership of this government is extraordinarily dangerous.
That's what we said. That's a straw man.
Not what we said. That's literally not what we said.
I'm just repeating back to you your own words.
I did not.
Maybe real.
Man, I love Scott Jennings, man. I would love to meet that guy someday. Here's the moment the fake news got slapped down by President Trump.
Today, but we didn't.
That's enough.
Cut it up.
Thank you.
Please. Boom. Mid-question. That's enough.
Today, but we didn't.
That's enough.
Cut it up.
Thank you. Please.
I hear the laughing in the crowd.
Today, but we didn't.
That's enough.
Cut it up.
Thank you. Please.
Yeah, I love it. Here is the Secretary Turner press office. The myth HUD won't be able to deliver on disaster relief efforts and homelessness assistance. In fact, HUD just released $2.5 million in rapid unsheltered survival housing funds to help the most vulnerable left behind by natural disasters. Will the MSN report on this? Of course they won't, but we will. So here's more from Scott Jennings, Mariano Fall. Bezos has one newspaper. How many radio stations does Soros own? Oh, yeah. What about that?
And Blue Orson. In fact, they worked extremely closely together. Here's what he said to the Daily Beast today. He said, "There is no doubt in my mind that he is doing this out of fear of the consequences for his other business interests. Amazon, the source of his wealth, and Blue Origin, which represents his lifelong passion for space exploration. He has prioritized those commercial interests over the Post, and he is betraying the Post's longstanding principles to do so." You can't not take that seriously as a possibility here.
No, of course. I mean, this is what's going on. Billionaires have too much control over our media and are bringing their business concerns into our media. He can, as far as the human right of an owner to do whatever. But this is an incredible responsibility, or at least we used to think about it that way, to own an important piece of the media, a legacy piece of media. To treat it this way is to use it to...
Well, it's a commodity. It's another business that is being used as leverage in an effort to protect his other businesses.
Well, I'm interested in a couple of the comments you made. You said it was destroying the newspaper because they failed to endorse Kamala Harris. I mean, what does that say about a newspaper that you have to endorse a certain political party and for it?
That's not the way it happened. What happened was that the editorial board had an editorial done and ready, and that was the process.
Right.
And then suddenly to say, oh, now we're not going to endorse. Well, they've endorsed other things since. It was the process by which it went under there. And there's other things going on. Constantly in the paper, I now use the hashtags Broken Times and Broken Post. The headlines in both papers, I think, are constantly off, constantly trying to soft pedal what's going on. Yeah. You're not going to like what I'm saying next, but we are in the middle of a totalitarian fascist coup.
Okay, yeah. We heard that one before, buddy. Thanks a lot. Here is more Caroline Leavitt clapping back at the Associated Press, complaining about their coverage. Not or lack thereof in the Oval Office.
Hard argument to make.
The Associated Press says you're restricting access to the president and you're restricting access of the free press.
It's a very hard argument to make when the president of the United States holds press conferences himself for more than an hour, sometimes multiple times a day, and takes questions from an array of journalists from outlets on the left and on the right. This is the most accessible and transparent administration in history, and anybody who just watches the television can see that, except for the Associated Press, I guess. Even a judge, a federal judge in Washington, D.C., sided with us in saying that the Associated Press or any outlet does not have a legal right to go into the Oval Office and ask the president questions. It is a privilege, and it's a privilege that has unfortunately been restricted by this group of D.C.-based journalists who call themselves the White House Correspondents Association and have had a monopoly over the White House and its press access. Not anymore. Yesterday, we announced that the White House is now going to control the pool rotation of reporters who get to fly on Air Force One, get to go into the Oval Office and ask President Trump questions. And we are going to keep the legacy media outlets around because we're not afraid to take questions from anybody. But we're also going to add those new voices in the mix who deserve to be there and who are excited about the privilege of enjoying this Trump administration and asking the president of the United States questions.
Well, there's a lot to enjoy, but before we let you go, Caroline, how honorable is it for Jake Tapper to participate in the Joe Biden cover-up and then get paid to write a book about the Joe Biden cover-up?
Kudos to Jake, because as you said, he was paid for lying. Now I guess he's paid for finally telling the truth. But he owes Laura Trump, my dear friend and the daughter-in-law of the president, an apology. You played the clip, and he tried to get the American people not to believe our own eyes. And there's a lot more journalists in this city who did as well. They lost a lot of credibility because of it, and Jake Tapper is surely one of them.
Well, he lost credibility, but then he got a big paycheck for it. Thank you very much, Caroline. Good to see you, and keep up the great work at these briefings.
I love it. It's great to be there. Great to see it all going down, and great to be in the press pool as well. Here's Meg Brock quote tweeting the Daily Caller. Joy Behar falsely claims on The View that Elon Musk supported apartheid. Oh, boy.
And I think that's good. I don't think he ever wanted really the responsibility of the job. He's not really bright enough to handle the job. And Elon Musk kisses his butt and strokes his tiny ego, or big ego, whatever it is. And he doesn't get to he can take a nap while the guy was not born in this country, who was born under apartheid in South Africa, so has that mentality going on. He was pro-apartheid, as I understand it.
He's a naturalized citizen.
Right?
Now.
He's a naturalized
Now he's
citizen.
a naturalized citizen.
Oh, really? How did he do that? Did he come over the border legally?
Yeah, here we go. Here's more.
Now I'm getting some flack because I said that Musk was pro-apartheid. I don't really know for sure if he was. He grew up at that time when apartheid was in full bloom before the great Nelson Mandela fixed that. He was around at that time, but maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. He might have been a young guy, too.
Might have been.
So don't be suing me, okay, Elon? They're allowed to say any lie they want, but we have to be really strict. That's why this show's important.
Yeah.
That now I'm getting some flack because I said that.
Yeah, because you're wrong and you're spreading disinformation and you got fact check in real time by the lawyers behind the scenes. Okay, what's this? Ruthless podcast tomorrow. Nothing is off limits. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt roasts journalists and discusses the ongoing battle with the media over reforms to the press establishment. Let's check this out.
I think the press are having. There couldn't be a less fun reporter to enjoy going to the Super Bowl on a Sunday with the President of the United States than SB Date. I think that's something the press are having a hard time with. We are genuinely having so much fun.
Yeah.
And this is why you're seeing them obsess over Elon Musk and President Trump. And they're trying so hard but failing to drive a wedge in that relationship.
Yeah.
Because they love those sensational stories of trying to pin people against each other. And as staff and the president himself is having the time of his life. I mean, he loves doing these Oval Office press conferences.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
saw
he's a
him
master.
yesterday. He was like, Caroline, get the hats. He comes back. I get that Trump was right about everything. Red hats. He's handing them out to the journalists. Like, they've never seen anything like this, and they don't know how to do it.
They're like, how dare you?
They know he's funny.
Yeah.
And they know we're having fun, but
Can't do it.
they don't. They
Oh, we are having so much fun. And so much winning is happening. I'm here for every moment. You guys are having fun with me. What is this? Oh, what's this? More?
For this long.
We're seeing that Americans now are looking forward to perhaps a recession.
Can I respond to some of this? I've sat here patiently for this long speech. So it seems to me that Democrats are taking a three-pronged approach at attacking Donald Trump. One is openly rooting for the failure of the United States by wish-casting a recession, which is just an insane political strategy. Number two, wanting to pin their entire political future on keeping government as large or larger than it is now. And number three, continuing to claim that mass deportations or that getting the border under control is somehow a bad policy idea for the United States. I wholeheartedly hope that Maria is appointed to run the Democratic midterm strategy, because if you're rooting for recession, for illegal immigration, and for a larger government, you're going to take a bath next November.
See, this is the problem, because none of that is true, Scott. You know,
I just repeated back to you what you said, and I don't know why you don't agree with it. Those are everything you just
sweetheart.
said.
No, honey, I did not say that I'm rooting for a recession. Economists are the ones who are saying that a recession is coming because Donald Trump has done nothing about it.
Get your pom-poms. Keep rooting for American failure. It served you well last November.
So the media's credibility is in free fall, and they know it. Scott Jennings put it perfectly when he said the idea the military or bureaucracy should resist the elected president is extraordinarily dangerous. Yet that's exactly what these so-called journalists are advocating. They're not interested in reporting facts. They're pushing resistance to a democratically elected president. When it comes to government waste, exposure, notice how they completely ignore HUD Secretary Turner's announcement of $2.5 million in relief funds for disaster survivors. Instead, they focus on manufacturing division and promoting their globalist agenda. So the question every American should be asking, and you should be answering in the comments, if these media outlets are so brazenly biased in their political coverage, what else are they lying about in your daily news consumption? Support independent journalism with our Next News swag. Grab a hat or a shirt at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. It's linked in the description.